This is one of the best Classic WoW videos ever made. It was made before Classic came out, and this guy, who made awesome bangers, disappeared off the face of the earth without an explanation. Mizoto. I miss this guy so much. This is a blast from the past. We're gonna enjoy one of the best YouTubers for Classic WoW that never were.
Classic WoW is gonna be coming out soon, and people are gonna have to level. The vast, overwhelming majority of people are going to suck at it. Many of them will be shamans. And that's why I made this video. Because shaman is by far the most requested class video, which means a lot of people want to watch it. And then I'll get a lot of money.
Hassle!
So let's begin. So you want to play a hybrid character that relies on nature to make up for their incompetencies and weaknesses, eh? And you have two options. A masochistic, furry beta male soy boy, or a buff Greenpeace war chad, who gets Wind Fury crits! Oh yeah! And fat chain lightning crits! Oh, baby! You still not sure? Well, let's take a closer look. My name is Valrion. I'm a druid. My pronouns are tree and trem, and I draw art on my Tumblr blog. I want to make all of the furry forest creatures love me, so we can all sing in the woods and be happy and environmentally friendly. I would say my best trait is running away.
If you PvP as a druid, that is actually accurate. Your best trait is running away. That is your job in Warzone Gorge. You are the best flag runner in the game because you are really hard to catch.
My name is Mockthar! They call me the Cataclysm! I'm a shaman! What the hell is a pronoun? I wonder whether Wind Fury or Lightning to the face will kill this Alliance pussy faster. If I see one more little freak sitting on my totem, I'm gonna storm strike his balls off! My best traits are Wind Fury crits! And picking up chicks. I'll run through your will.
You know what I like the most about Shamans? When they make the PvP videos and the guy gets a Wind Fury crit and like it's like a really crappy frame rate and a really crappy resolution because it's 2004 and it zooms in the number and it's like 3000 and it's like when the music drops, you know, when they're about to go, oh wow! Well, right at this, before that happens, they zoom right into the number.
Cavern. If you know what I'm saying. I get it. You're confused. Personality-wise, you're probably associating a bit better with the druid, especially if you play a mage on retail. But for the sake of the video, let's just say we're gonna roll shaman. First thing to know is which spec are we going to level with? No question! I'm gonna level elemental, like the god Zeus! Oh, hell yeah! Lick my crit,
you see that? You see that zoom? That's what I'm talking about. This is awesome. Oh. That's accurate. That's a maze. Is he playing a maze?
Oh yeah, alright! Yep! What? I'm already out? Alright, I'll go buy some and... What the... 18 silver? How are you liking it, big boy?
Oh my god!
Can't I... like, get this to go or something? Well, sure. Why didn't you ask earlier?
No. Oh my god. I choked a little.
Like I'm putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Most of you already know this, but I know I'm going to get the question anyway. Alright, so Enhancement is way more efficient than Elemental is. For a lot of reasons. One of them is that as Elemental, you're constantly casting spells. so you aren't regenerating mana in combat.
This went from zero to Alex Sensual really quick. Okay, you see, this kind of content sadly cannot survive in YouTube anymore as it is. It is a shame because 2016, I mean not necessarily WoW, because WoW, if you remember, it was pretty heckin' dead in 2016, but for other games content was like this. It was very well edited, very edgy, and that was the meta. But then people figured out that it's not a good idea, not a good business model to do that. And all we got now for video game content is like freaking video essays or like edited gameplay, and that's pretty much it. It's not too happy, it's not too good.
In order to regenerate mana in combat, you have to stop casting for 5 seconds. Once that 5 seconds is up, your mana is going to regenerate as normal. So you want to use as few spells as possible, or you will need to drink. And drinking is for plebs that don't know how to efficiently manage their mana, and mages. All the pros are going to regen their mana with spirit, and by not losing the mana in the first place. So here's what I do. I try to keep my mana above 60 to 70% in every 1v1 fight that I reasonably can. Obviously there's going to be situations where you're going to run out of mana because some mobs are just really strong, or you're not playing perfectly, or whatever it is. But it's something that I personally aim for, depending on my mana pool and if there's a lot of mobs around. I do that so I still have mana to heal after the fight, or in case of an emergency, such as aggroing more mobs or someone trying to kill me, stuff like that. What I do to make sure I am regenerating mana as much as possible while still doing damage with my spells, I try not to use any spells unless
he got the Corpse Maker. That's a really cool axe, this guy.
Unless I'm going to use all of them, like Lightning Shield, Searing Totem, and Flame Shock. For example, I'm not going to use Lightning Shield unless I'm also going to use my Searing Totem and one of my Shock spells. I use all of my spells at once. Well, all of those 3, instead of spreading them out throughout the fight. If I spread them out throughout the fight, then I'm constantly interrupting my mana regeneration. If I use them all at once, I'm taking advantage of the maximum amount of mana regeneration that I can per fight before interrupting it. This is called front-loading your damage. In my experience and the testing I've done, Elemental can do more sustained damage than Enhancement, but it's at the cost of having to drink all the time, making it far less efficient than Enhancement. If you are doing it right, you will almost never have to drink as Enhancement.
That's a great part, and in TBC it got even better. You never drink. Like if you nail the rotation, so to speak, you get so efficient at it because you open with Frost Shock and you kite like you would hamstring kite a little bit, and you take little damage. That is really good. Or Earthbind, of course. If you drop an Earthbind, okay, he made a mistake in here. I'm gonna correct that right away. Mana Spring Totem is barely mana efficient for a single person. Oh, Maiko, gracias por el sub. Oh.
Maiko Bosco became a member.
Yeah, now we got explosions for memberships. So we got that going on. I worked on that when my internet wasn't working. Thank you, man. Mana Spring is not mana efficient almost. It is barely mana efficient for a single person, and that is if you stand next to the totem for the whole 2 minutes. It is a bad totem if you're alone. It is for your teammates, not for you necessarily. I made the math a long time ago. It was like you get a 20 mana profit if you are the whole 2 minutes next to the totem. You never, let me make that clear, never use mana spring totem when you're on your own. You might find some uses to healing stream totem, especially if you have some spell power for it. You never ever ever use mana spring totem when you're alone. That is for your teammates, not for you.
Spirit.
Also, you can use Earthbind to hamstring kite like a warrior would. That's actually very good. You see that zoom in?
Sucking action.
Slow down.
So good to get a multi-Wind Fury crit. It doesn't happen super often, but having Storm Strike gives another chance at getting those big Wind Fury crits. And that is more satisfying to me than anything on the Elemental tree.
Sorry, I forgot this was a religious stream. Yes, this is a Christian stream, okay? You cannot swear.
Someone in my stream chat told me I should put my level 20 talent into the two-handed axes and maces talent. And I said, why? All the good weapons you get at low levels are stabs, unless you're willing to go for like BOEs or something. And even at higher levels, There are a lot of very good stabs that are really easy to get.
Okay, if you're playing Shaman, you are obviously playing Horde. If you are playing Horde, you have access to one of the best dungeons in the game, Scarlet Monastery Armory. And if you have access to Scarlet Monastery Armory, that means that you got the Ravager. So at level 36, you have to reroll and get that talent, okay? You need the two-handed weapon talent if you're a Horde. The Ravager is just too broken, okay? I am sorry it is this way, but it is this way.
For example, the Resurgence Rod and the Chief's Enforcer. Hell, even the Illusionary Rod from Scarlet Monastery is better for a Shaman than it is for any other class. Because not only do Shamans benefit from the stats, but they also benefit from the damage, something that no other caster does, which is the best damage on any weapon at that level. Now, I'm not saying don't get the two-handed specialization talent, I'm just saying that I don't get it right at level 20.
Do you get any idea how mad the mages would be if this guy needed on the staff? This is like one of the best stats out there.
Because not only do Shamans benefit from the stats, but they also benefit from the damage, something that no other caster does, which is the best damage on any weapon at that level. Now, I'm not saying don't get the two-handed specialization talent, I'm just saying that I don't get it right at level 20 because I'm not going to get a good two-handed axe or mace, at least until Corpse Maker. But even though stabs can be better in many cases, a lot of Shamans don't want—
What do you mean until Corpse Maker? Why would you get Corpse Maker if the Ravager is better, more accessible, you get good experience doing Scarlet Monastery anyway? Get the Ravager, skip it!
Want stabs. Because we want to be warriors with really big warrior weapons and fat warrior damage. We're not some beta cuck mage using some twig on his back. We're like unbreakable. He's not using a staff, he's using a mace, like a guy with a big cock. So most of you have probably already seen my warrior video, so I won't get too into it. But basically, just because a weapon has strength on it doesn't mean it's better than another weapon without or with less strength.
I think the math is that if you have 14 attack power, remember 1 strength is 2 attack power, so 7 strength is 1 DPS. You talk too much about Ravager, that thing is boring. What did you say about the Ravager, you little— What did you just say about the Ravager? I'm gonna put you in a corner and you're gonna think about what you just said.
Far more meaningful is the actual DPS of the weapon. And a lot of times, stabs are going to have much higher DPS than maces or axes. The high-end numbers here are less important for Shaman than they are on classes like Warriors, because there isn't a cooldown on Wind Fury procs. So you might get bigger Wind Fury hits with slow, bigger high-end damage weapons, but the faster, lower high-end damage weapons will give you Wind Fury more often. And Stormstrike has a long cooldown, making it not as big of a deal if the weapon is fast in the long run. Don't get me wrong, high-end damage weapons—
He doesn't mention this, but once you get level 40, I think, 30 something, sorry, you get the Flurry talent. Flurry is every time you get a crit, you get attack speed. And what that means is that you gotta get crits very often. And if you have a slightly faster weapon, that means you're gonna have a slightly higher flurry uptime. And if you have a slightly higher flurry uptime, that means that you're gonna do more damage. So yes, in a weird way, Enhancement attack speed doesn't really matter because you lose from one side and you gain from the other.
Are a little better, but not by much. At least in PvE they are. In PvP, the slower the better. For the crits! Oh! And because usually you're going to get kited in PvP, meaning that you want each connection you have with your opponent to be as meaningful as possible. I know I'm going to get this question, so I'll just address it now. Shields with a one-hander are usually not worth it. The amount of damage you lose from not using a two-hander of the same level as a one-hander is usually not made up by the amount of damage your shield prevents. If the
That is actually— okay, this is old information. We apparently didn't have like the actual numbers or something in Classic proper. A one-hander with what is it called? Rock Biter is pretty good damage and you save a lot of damage. It is— I don't think it is ideal, but it is a very competitive tank. It is not as bad as we once believed it was.
One-hander is a much higher level than your current two-hander. That'll be a different story, which happens a lot. It's not super common to have an up-to-date two-hander all the time. If you do go with a one-hander and shield, you're going to want to go with a dagger and flame tongue if you want high consistency. If you want to look really cool a lot, go with a dagger and Wind Fury. You'll get a lot of procs and the damage is about the same. As far as stats go, yeah, strength is really good, but you don't want to ignore spirit.
Okay, here's a problem with if you're playing a 1x server. And the problem that is gonna limit you to not be able to do stuff like that, to swap from a 100 to a 200, is that weapon skill. Weapon skill matters a lot, and in Classic it takes a long time to level. I know. People are gonna get mad at me, I know. Either stabs or axes. There's a lot of good stabs and good axes that are 200 in the game. So what you are supposed to do is just stick to either stabs or axes and just use that. There is not a lot of good swords to level with. There's some, but there is not a lot. You cannot even use swords. What am I saying? There's not a lot of good maces to level with. Most of the good 200 weapons when you're leveling are axes. And stabs, of course, like he said, that is true. They are very good. So you are forced pretty much to use either one of them. And that's pretty much it. Like, do not go changing from 100 to 200 all the time. Like, if you decide on something, you are married to it and you're kinda screwed. Leveling a weapon speed is gonna cost you a lot more time than you would save from a marginal weapon upgrade. Unless it is a huge, and I mean huge weapon upgrade, it is not worth it.
Spirit is what's going to keep you alive when you've accidentally aggroed too many mobs. And it's what's going to keep you from having to drink all the time. And if you're on a PvP server and you plan on doing some PvP, you really need intellect. One of the biggest problems I see people having is that they run out of mana way too fast to either heal themselves or shock their opponents. A lot of people just stack strength and pray for Wind Fury crits. I've found it far more effective to have a lot of mana.
Remember, I'm gonna say it once again, strength is worthless. 7 strength is 1 DPS on your weapon. That is all you get. Okay, strength is very bad. Strength gets better only if you're like a warrior, because you get at level 60 you get a Bloodthirst and it scales with your attack power, making it a very important stat. But for a melee in general, strength is very worthless. You don't get much from it. And yeah, just get agility and spirit and intellect. He's right on that.
So you can kite and interrupt with shocks and heal yourself when needed. I've also found it useful to have rank 1 shocks as well as max rank shocks on your bars. So let's say you're fighting a caster and you're out of mana. You need to interrupt their next cast. Or you're fighting a warrior and you're out of mana and you need to kite them. Having a rank 1 version of those shocks will come in very useful. I use them all the time, even against mobs. Because when you have little mana left, you usually are going to have enough to use your rank 1 spells.
What?
Big thank you to my patrons over at Patreon. If you guys wanted to support me on Patreon, you will have access to a lot of the video clips before the videos.
I wonder, is his Patreon still up? I really wonder. Is he still around? No, he's not around anymore. That's a shame. No. Wow, what a shame. But yeah, this guy quit YouTube a long time ago. It's a really bad shame. I still love him. You know, you wanna watch his videos? His name is Mizoto. I'm gonna leave a link in the description or in the pinned comment. You know how it is. Yeah, you should definitely check him out because he's great. Concerned Doge. What does Concerned Doge mean? Is that bad? Am I in trouble?